This episode will focus on professional services time tracking and invoicing. ClientNote provides the ability to create billable services tasks that can be charged to contacts over time, up to a point where you may wish to assemble these billable activities into one or more invoices to be sent to your clients. There are 5 key features to this functionality: the ability to define your own services tasks and packages, the ability to assign billing rates to the applicable services tasks that were previously defined, the ability to assign services tasks to your contacts for later billing, and the ability to create new invoices and choose which contact service tasks to add to the invoice. And finally, the ability to mark the status of an invoice, whether it be finalized, sent, or paid. Let's run through an example where we wish to allocate a services package to one of our contacts and then create an invoice for the services. So first of all, let's have a look at the add edit billing codes form. So in here, you are in control of what services packages or offerings that you wish to provide to your clients. So it is a 3-level categorization of each. So for example, if I select any of the main billing categories, for example, the ClientNote Ontario OANP program, we offer 4 different services for that program. So we would have a bundle A, bundle B, bundle C, or full service flat rate. So you might look at this as some examples of maybe lesser than full service packages that you may choose to define for your offerings. If I choose flat rate, the billing time type would either be billable or non-billable. So in some cases, you might choose to have general caseworker consultation and provide 30 minutes of free consultation, while the billing time type would be non-billable there. So again, you have full control over how you define all of these main sub and time type items for your services offerings. So once you've done that, you can simply come over to your edit billing rate form, and here's where you will see kind of a consolidated list of everything that you defined in the other form. But here you can actually assign a dollar value to that particular service offering, depending on what the units are. If it's an hour, then 100 per hour, just some random numbers we threw in here for the purposes of the demonstration. So once you've kind of completed your library of services, you now have the ability to go in and choose any one of your contacts and assign one of these services packages to them. So to do that, you would simply go in and find a contact that you wish to allocate a service package to, and you can click the Add Edit Contact Activities button. That launches a little form that contains some client information at the top, and it shows you any of the services activities or any type of activity that you might have had with that client. In this case, we want to add a new client activity, and it'll bring up a little subform where you can choose the activity type. So in this case, we're going to be calling this a task. We don't really need to concern ourselves with any of the dates here for this type of activity, but we do want to put in a description here, something that would show up potentially on a later invoice. So we'll call this one OINP full service application. And everything else we can leave here. The billing units would be 1, so that would be 1 package. So whatever you charge for that package would be multiplied by that number on the invoice. So we typically leave that alone for this type of full service package. Leave it at 1. Now you have to tell the system that you want to charge. Well, you choose that full service OINP program that we presented earlier in the billing categories. And the time type, of course, would be billable. Once you've done that, you click the add, and you'll see now that activity is now bound to this contact, Frank Franklin. So we can close the form. We've completed the allocation of that task to Frank Franklin. So if the time comes now where you want to invoice Frank Franklin for that work, you can simply create a new invoice and it'll put in the information for Mr. Franklin. You can decide what date you want for the invoice. We can leave it at December 8th. We can put the due date in and choose, let's say, January 30th. And if you've negotiated any kind of a discount, you can put that in here. We'll say we gave him a 5% discount. And depending what province you're in, you can put in a tax rate as well. Once we've put all of those items in, what you'll see here is there's nothing as in terms of line items on the invoice right now, and that is by design. We typically will allow you to choose from all of the activities that you've, all of the billable activities that you've allocated to this contact over time will appear here if they have not already been put on an invoice. So in our case, there were no previous activities, so we only see the one, and this is the one, the full service package application that we want to put on this invoice. So we just click the add button and it transfers it over to the invoice itself. So if we're satisfied that all the items in the invoice are fine, we can click finalize. But there is one thing that I wanted to add in here, which is the special terms. So if we're billing this client, this is a $5,000 package, maybe we want to deposit up front. So we'll put in $2,000 due on receipt of the invoice. So that's right. And we'll say that that is finalized. Now we can view, print the invoice, and immediately the invoice is produced. We have an ID number, the date, the due date, all of the information for our immigration company, which you can edit in the application at any time. And we have the bill to information that comes from your ClientNote contact information, as well as a line item that we added. And if we scroll down a little further near the bottom of the invoice, you'll see that the 5% discount got applied, the 13% tax got added, and this is the full invoice amount. And the special terms that we typed in show up here. So we can use the export to PDF feature and save that as a PDF and send it off to the client at any time. Note that after the invoice is created, at any time you can come back and view or print your invoices. So it'll automatically open up and you can scroll through all the invoices that that particular client may have. In this case, we only have one, but you can always come back in, reprint, view that invoice for reference. So it's easy to access the system. You can also edit invoices in much the same way. That concludes our presentation. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, and we hope you get an opportunity to look at some of our other videos highlighting the other features of ClientNote.